Hey everyone, welcome to the show, My So-Called Fabulous. I'm Tiffany. Welcome everyone. And you know I talk about nutrition nonstop. I talk about fitness and a lot of fun things, but you keep asking me, would you get someone that really knows what they're talking about on the show? So that's what I did. Allison Volk, she brought over a fabulous woman because she's so supportive and great with Volk PR over in Dallas. And she brought me Lauren Gillan, precious girl from Dallas. Over here, we are going to talk about you. You are a holistic certified nutritionist, and I am so excited to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Well, great. Well, I just want to dive in because so many of my followers and listeners and viewers ask about nutrition. And I think people really do get bogged down into the minutia of it, and it doesn't have to be that way, right?
No.
You were telling me yesterday when we were on the phone, it really needs to be relatable. So tell us about your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I probably would have never chosen to be a nutritionist. I'm not going to lie. I kind of fell into it accidentally. I grew up in the pharmaceutical industry. My dad created patient information for Big Pharma for 35 years. So I grew up with everything could be fixed with a pill. And I started suffering from depression, anxiety. I was modeling. I was eating low-calorie foods. I wasn't really supporting my body properly, but I didn't know what that meant, really. And so as a holistic nutritionist, I believe that everything is connected. You know, we're humans. We're eating for so many different types of reasons. We're eating because food tastes good, because we're social, because we want to have fun, because we're tired, because we're bored. The body's eating for one reason. It's eating for nutrients. And we're not getting any of our nutrients from our food until it makes its way from the stomach to the small intestine. And so the reason I say that I'm a holistic nutritionist and that everything is connected, because once those nutrients or toxins or lack thereof nutrients make its way to the small intestine, those nutrients are getting into the bloodstream, and that blood is visiting every single organ in the body. It's not discriminating.
And food is fuel, but it's also cannot be fuel. Exactly right, is what you were telling me.
Yeah.
And if you're on YouTube, if you're not on YouTube, you should go take a peek because Lauren is going to show you something that's on the desk right now, and this will wake you up. So show us what you have.
Yeah, so the intestines are 25 feet long. And so we've got the small intestine, which is about 20 feet long. And this is where I say the magic happens because this is where your body's really absorbing nutrients and those nutrients are getting into the bloodstream. So I always say that calories are, I think some wellness experts would say calorie in, calorie out. You need to lose weight. You have to be at a calorie deficit. But calories are more than just energy. They're actually information to your cells. And so obviously if you're giving your cells low quality information, you're not going to be thriving. Mm-hmm. So we got this 20 feet of small intestine where your body's absorbing nutrients. And then you've got 5 feet, this is the colon, where your body is holding on to waste that needs to be removed. And so there's electrolytes in there too, but it's really just waste that needs to be taken out. The trash needs to be taken out. And so when we have stuff sitting in here, and I think there's an estimated 1 to 4 pounds of waste sitting in the average human's body.
What?
It's going to cause health problems because the trash was meant to be taken out, right?
Right.
You don't want to have a party and leave the trash there. Gross.
No, not really.
Oh.
So we all studied this in science class or health class at one time, but this visual with the ropes, the pink and the white, the small intestine is much more narrow. Is
Yes.
that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the thicker rope you see on the screen here is the large intestine. So Lauren, tell me about the people that are consuming fast food or processed food on the normal versus real food. Tell me about that, how that's digested or not.
Well, okay, there's a lot of different factors coming. You hear that expression, feel good food or good food, good mood. I will never label a food as good or bad. I think it just doesn't really help someone. If I said, hey, that food's bad, if we eat it, we eat that bad for you cookie or that bad for you pizza, we're gonna inherently feel bad about ourselves. So I label foods as anti-inflammatory. Those are foods that are gonna cause contraction and they're gonna make us feel good, or inflammatory. And inflammatory foods, they create inflammation in the body, obviously, but that's going to mean like heat, friction, expansion, that puffy feeling. So if we're eating a lot of fast food, 1,500 calories of fast food versus 1,500 calories of real quality protein with vegetables is going to feel very different. One's going to make us feel expanded and puffy, and our immune system is going to be weakened. Our metabolism is going to slow. We're going to have hormonal imbalances. And the other food is going to make us feel good because it's feeding those feel-good bacteria in the body.
Right. So one of the things that you were telling me about that you do with your clients, and you have in office and you have virtual,
Yep.
which I love. So anyone listening to this globally can find you and use you as a resource. You were telling me that you would actually take people to the grocery store, and because I know, shop the perimeter store, right?
Yep.
Do you find that people just do not know how to shop?
They don't, honestly, because marketing is so good.
It is good.
It is really good. And I actually took a break from seeing clients one-on-one for about 6 years. Actually, I was doing it more so on the side, but I was consulting for the food industry, the natural food industry, actually. So I was helping them with marketing. And, I will notice people purchase things that say like keto ice cream or keto cookies or paleo this or low fat that, but they're not reading the ingredients. And so these low-fat, high-protein things, if you actually flip around and look at the ingredients, that's what matters, because you could have this high-protein food. Doesn't mean it's quality. You could be creating inflammation in your body, eating all this high-quality protein bar type stuff. It's not real food. Your body doesn't know what to do with all this shelf-stable stuff. And if you think about it, if something's shelf-stable and it's lasting in your pantry for months and years, how does your body know how to break that down? It doesn't.
It doesn't. I mean, how do you, You know what my major was? Food science and nutrition.
Okay.
You know what we were doing in the 80s? Trying to preserve food on the shelves.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you came from a pharma background and I came from that background where I think about this all the time. The Twinkies in a store that's been sitting there and you take a bite out of it, and not that I would, but when I would, you know what I mean? It's moist, it's good, it's sweet, it's great.
Totally.
But what are we doing if it won't digest, right? It just sits there.
It's going to sit there in the intestines and it's going to create inflammation. I think that I hear a lot feel good food or good food, good mood. And I really don't think that people understand the actual significance of that. One of the reasons I got into nutrition was for mental health reasons, because I don't think people really understand that the intestines, the digestive tract is completely the second brain. So there's over 100 million, I've even read where it's 200 to 600 million nerve cells from the esophagus to the rectum. And so these nerve cells have the ability to speak to the central nervous system. And so when we're eating foods that are decreasing inflammation, we're likely to feel better. And it used to be that researchers thought that people who suffered from depression and anxiety and all these, quote unquote, mood disorders were more likely to have IBS or more likely to have constipation or more likely to have these digestive issues. But what they're finding is the flip. The total reverse. Actually, people who suffer from IBS are more likely to have depression. They're the ones that are more likely to have anxiety, to have bipolar disease, to have the autism. So the intestines and all these little nerve cells are speaking to the brain constantly. And so you can change how someone feels by improving their digestion and improving the quality of food in there and decreasing their inflammation.
Wow. Okay, when you talk about inflammatory foods, can you tell us, can you name some for us? Obviously processed, right? Like what?
So I think a lot of people are, especially I find people with, that suffer from depression, anxiety, are more sensitive to grains. White rice tends to be one that's pretty friendly, but, corn, such a genetically modified food. Wheat in the United States, not only is the processing different, but they are sprayed with glyphosate. Same thing with a lot of our oatmeal. We're eating the oatmeal that you grew up on, sticking it in the hot water.
Oh yeah.
So that kind of food, fast food. But I usually tell my patients, if I'm always looking to upgrade them, right? I want to make these micro changes, so they don't mean to make all these changes right away. But one of the things I want them to upgrade is the oil. So if they're canola oil, soybean oil, peanut oil, corn oil, throw it out. And please never let it back into your life. That you could take a healthy salad or a healthy-ish salad and completely make it inflammatory by dousing it into all this canola oil and soybean oil and all the dressings that I grew up with as a kid.
Yes. Vegetable oil.
Yep. Vegetable oil. We don't need it. It's not good.
Isn't it amazing? Because we did grow up with that and we think it's good and we're cooking our own real food, but making salad dressings with canola oil.
Yeah.
It's frightening.
And I think another thing too that I find a lot of my clients that come to me, they skip water in the morning and they're going straight to the coffee. What most people don't realize is that coffee beans are the number one sprayed crop in the world. So if you are starting your morning with this steaming hot cup of Joe, they say, and it's covered in pesticides, our body doesn't see that as a nutrient. It's a poison. So the body's going to try to get rid of it through the bowels. If it can't get rid of it through there, the skin, through your breath, through your lungs. And what it can't get rid of, it doesn't want to cause destruction to our vital organs, right? So as I mentioned before, the blood is in constant circulation in the body. It's not discriminating. It's not saying today we visit the liver and tomorrow we're going to visit the brain and the next day the kidneys. So the body's going to protect you. I don't think people realize that the body is brilliant. Everyone's body is so, so brilliant. And so when you've got these toxins from, let's say, the coffee in the morning, your body's going to tuck it away into your fat cells because it doesn't want to endanger your vital organs because that would be more of a threat. So I think sometimes we get caught up in like this stubborn fat that we sometimes feel like we have as we age. Mm-hmm. It's a protective thing. It's your body's trying to protect you from the stuff we're putting into it so that it doesn't get sick.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So coffee, I have found a coffee that is pesticide free, blah, 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 all those things. But is that what you tell your clients? Because I'm sure the number of people listening, they're going, I'm not giving up coffee.
Of course.
But exactly what you said. And you really don't hear a lot about that.
No.
And I know the coffee industry is huge. It's huge.
I love coffee.
I do too. I do too. So, but you have one that is safe and it's simple. So, okay, inflammatory foods. Take me back to the oils. Why are they so inflammatory? And you hit on it just a minute, but a lot of people ask me about this.
Yeah, because they're highly, highly processed.
Ugh.
And honestly, there's no such thing as a canola plant. It's actually called a rapeseed plant. And I believe I think they changed the name because who wants to eat a rapeseed plant? And so it's actually called Canadian oil. But it is incredibly processed. If you actually start to read the articles of how this poor little plant becomes this highly inflammatory, toxic oil, you're looking there and going, oh, we're all eating that? Gross.
Oh, my gosh. I was doing some research yesterday and I saw the word rapeseed in all of this because I'm trying to write a recipe and take out, because I originally put vegetable oil in it 10 years ago. So I'm working to get a replacement. And I saw the word rapeseed and I said, that is the biggest typo on a major, major platform. Yep. And it's not.
No.
Oh,
a rapeseed plant. I mean, don't you all want to consume
a rapeseed?
A rapeseed?
No, not in this world. This world. Okay. Well, tell us who comes to you. I know you want nutrition to feel good. And I did read in your bio, a lot of people, in my opinion, go to a nutritionist or go to a trainer to lose weight.
Of course.
What is your thought process on that? Is that the only reason, that you would go? But who are your people? And you look beyond that, right?
Yeah, of course. So people who have migraines, people who just want to feel better, they can't figure out why they're bloated all the time, or they're having problems with their skin, they're not sleeping well, they might be losing their hair, they just don't feel good. So yeah, weight is a huge component of it because we all want to look good when we look in the mirror.
Sure.
But depression, anxiety, I see so much of that too. So everything, I think one of the first things people say to me, usually if they come to my office and they're like, oh, I want to lose weight. But one of the first things I hear within the first 10 days is, oh my gosh, I was having so much joint pain and it just completely went away. Because even though their diet was quote unquote healthy, and all these pastas and these gluten-free breads and things, they're still inflammatory. So they're causing their joints to hurt. Their body's basically saying, hey, we don't like what we're doing here. Could you please switch things up a little bit? So I see everything. I think I see the most probably, weight loss, or people will just say I just don't feel right in my clothes anymore. Why don't things fit? I feel puffy. What's going on? But yeah, you so many things, from hormone imbalance to migraines to just having low energy.
Right.
It's cool. It's
And
cool.
skin.
And skin, yes.
Skin. You wrote a book, The Clear Skin Detox Diet.
I did.
Yeah. And I mean, that is amazing. You just find out that foods is the pathway to that, to clear skin.
Yeah, I think food and improving your digestive system. Because once again, I will have patients that come into the office and they're not going to the bathroom every day. Maybe once every other day, maybe once every 3 days. And you always see that tied into, what their symptoms are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I look for patterns.
Right.
But you can improve the skin so much. I think it differs based on your age too,
Right.
because there's always different things going on, whether you're 25 or 60. But yeah, you can improve your skin so much by improving your organ function and your digestive system and the nutrient density of your foods.
Y'all, let me interrupt the show for just a minute to introduce you to one of my new favorite products. Following my breast explant surgery, I discovered ASEA and have been using Renew 28 ever since. Seriously, I'm not sure how I ever lived without this product. The fabulous gel has helped fluff my breasts post-surgery, reduce the crepiness on my arms, tighten and smooth my face, and help heal a nasty scar on my daughter's foot. I'm serious, it's so fabulous. This will continue to be a staple in my home for sure. You will just love the youthful appearance it provides and the hydrated, smooth way your skin will feel. I love all the ASEA products I've tried, and I'm sure you will too. Learn more and shop at shopasea.com/Tiffany Blackmon. And again, that's shopasea.com/Tiffany Blackmon, or click the link in the show notes.
This is so exciting. I mean, I don't even know what to tell you. This is so exciting because it's exactly what people need to hear. They may not want to hear it because, eating unhealthy, or the difference between healthy and unhealthy, when people are like, oh my goodness, I eat almonds, I eat granola.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't agree with your body, it's not healthy for you, correct? But one size doesn't fit all.
One size does not fit all. Definitely not.
No.
We're all bio-unique. Some of us have autoimmune. I had Lyme disease when I was in 4th grade. That makes me more susceptible to things that are inflammatory, unfortunately. So when I said I didn't choose nutrition, it chose me, because I don't think I would have ever really chosen as a 16-year-old girl to start having all these health problems.
Right.
I just wanted to be a 16-year-old girl.
Right.
But I also really love it because I love seeing people be like, I feel great now, or
Right.
I feel so much better, or I fit back into my clothes. I can't believe I've waited this long. Those are the things that keep me doing what I'm doing.
Absolutely. I shared with you, and I've shared on my podcast multiple times, that I had breast explant surgery. I had breast implant illness. And for years and years and years, it was, oh, you're going through menopause, you're perimenopause, you did this, you're eating the wrong food. No one ever said I was eating the wrong foods. Let me back up there. But I had a healthy diet.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a competitor. And then having those removed, but before I had them removed, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune collagenous colitis.
Okay. Yeah.
But it took forever to get to that diagnosis. Would go back to pharma, like you were talking about in the beginning, and I'm not trying to trash doctors at all. Please hear me, and pharma. But what was the solution for me after they found out? Drugs.
Yeah.
Biologics, putting me on biologics, which weakened my immune system. I already have autoimmune. And back to what you're saying about a pill fixes it all.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It made it worse.
Yep.
I had chronic diarrhea for 5 years, and I just couldn't fix it. Had the implants out, but now it's like, I am not finished. Just because you do have a surgery or something doesn't mean that you're finished, right?
Nope. Because your body's constantly storing things. I call it like stubborn fat, or just anything that we're houses, and if we're not new builds, so we are constantly accumulating things, and it takes time to rework the system. I also think of the body kind of as like a science project. you don't just you don't make one change and then expect everything just to fall into place. You have to make all these tiny tweaks. And so with something as serious as explants surgery, your body has to readjust and to get rid of those toxins that it was probably building for, I don't know how long you had them in, years. But
yeah. And I really didn't have them as long as a lot of my followers, and we've created such a little community on my platforms. Some women 35, 40 years have implants in, and I had mine 11 years. It was that time that it's time to take them out and put them back in. No thanks. But, and I'm not against them. They just didn't work out for me. Yeah. But and back to what you were saying about this didn't happen overnight. Yeah. You know what I mean? It doesn't fix overnight, right? No. It's a journey.
I wish it did. I would be man, I would be the coolest nutrition ever if I just had like a magic wand.
You are.
And I could be like, poof.
Exactly. Like, but it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Okay. When you said we're not a new build,
no.
you mentioned when you came in earlier, colostrum. Tell us your passion for colostrum, because that is a huge, it's an ingredient. It's not ingredient. What is it? But it's something that people are doing, and my husband's doing it. Okay. My sister has him on it. It's amazing, right?
I love colostrum. And I don't think all of them are created equally, but there are some really great brands out there. And so I think of colostrum as, I do think of it kind of as a magic elixir, in the sense that it is the only superfood. You hear a lot about superfood this, superfood that, and it's almost like, oh gosh, can we stop? But it is really the only superfood that is created by mammals and women specifically. Right. So obviously we're awesome.
We are.
But it's the first milk that a breastfeeding mother is going to be able to give to her infant to literally nourish them through those first couple weeks, months, like that year. And a mother's milk is just magical, I think. But colostrum specifically is so incredibly nutrient dense. And what I find so fascinating about it is I call it like a wallpapering crew. So kids that usually get that colostrum as an infant are going to have much stronger immune systems. And if you think of a wallpapering crew, they're coming in, they're putting up wallpaper on your walls, they're like slathering it on there. I think of colostrum as the same thing. It's coming in and it's taking your human tissue that makes up our digestive tract, and it's helping to seal it off so that we're not getting those micro tears from the inflammatory things we're putting into our body. I know you and I had discussed the other day, leaky gut. And so what happens is this wallpapering crew, this colostrum is going in and helping to seal off the intestinal walls. So we're more likely to have a stronger immune system because we're not letting those like unwanted microorganisms or proteins or molecules from food to get into the bloodstream that are not supposed to be in there. So it's kind of like a wall.
Wow. And that is amazing. I think I've told you, I started taking it before I had surgery. I was grasping any straw to feel better. You know what I mean? Just felt
totally get that.
Horrible for so many years. And I was like, okay, take this. All, good product, supplements and to heal your gut. And I did. It took me 6 months to heal my gut from January to July. Yep. But I'm ready to put colostrum back in because I believe so strongly in hearing you say that, my friend Allison saying that, everyone, my sister. It's the real deal. But are there companies that's not great colostrum? Does that make sense?
I would say that so the reason I did not learn about colostrum when I became a nutritionist 15 years ago. So I didn't really learn so much about colostrum then because it was only available in pill form. And when you think about, you're taking a pill and it's going to go sit down in your stomach. But I love these new powdered ones because it's acting as if you are the way that it was intended. It's coating the gums in your teeth and your mouth, and it's going down your throat, and it's coating everything. And so I really like these powdered ones. The one that I take is Armra. Mm-hmm. So I don't know too much about a whole lot of other brands, but I would say making sure that it's grass-fed colostrum is very important. Because that is a key to the quality. Right. And going for the powdered versions. And I think keeping it simple with just like simple ingredients. We don't need a whole bunch of other stuff in there.
And you mix that with water, correct?
I mix it with water. I'll throw it right back in my mouth.
I know. I've seen people
and weird, but
but you not a lot of water though, right? Just like a shot of water.
I have one of my clients that calls it astronaut ice cream. And I love that because it makes it more fun to take if you're just taking astronaut ice cream. It's powdered and it's kind of sweet. I think it tastes good. It tastes like astronaut ice cream.
Well, it's on my list to start that again because
I love it.
Everything. My husband, he's a better dude because of it, I think. Maybe
That's
not.
Awesome.
the jury's out for sure. Okay, we touched on weight loss just a little bit. We talked about this just a tiny bit. The new shots that are out, which are not new, actually. They've been around forever. Ozempic has. But what is your thoughts on that? Is there a time and place for that? Or what are your feelings on the shots?
I think the way for me to best jump in there is to say, if you are going to choose to use something like that, then make sure you're changing your habits. I hear about some people taking these shots and they're not changing anything. They're eating so much less. They're losing tons of weight. They're losing skeletal muscle mass, which is a whole nother subject in itself because that's scary. You don't want to lose skeletal muscle mass. Because that's where we're going to run into aging and problems, etc. But I think, so I hear about these people that are on it and they've lost much weight, but they're eating one meal a day and it's like a Diet Coke and French fries. I mean, talk about mental health problems later on down the road. That's not nutrient dense. So when I'm working with a client that's on it, I'm just making sure that this is the time that they are making and setting new healthy habits. And they know how to eat from sun up to sundown, how to stay properly hydrated, so that when they get to a place where they feel comfortable and they get off it, they're not going to put on all this weight again because they've learned how to eat for their body. So I think that's the way that I would say that. And I think there's also people too with like insulin resistance, with PCOS, like polycystic ovary syndrome, that the people just really can't lose weight.
Right.
So I think there's different times and places.
Exactly. For everything, especially that. I have a family member. He was put on Ozempic 5 years ago, let's say, lost about 50 pounds.
Okay.
But changed his life, learned how to eat, learned how to move, working a certain time of day, overnight shifts, and had to, and that was a game changer for his health, popped him out of type 2. And, and then I have the people that's losing the skeletal mass in my life. So yes, again, one size not fits all, right? That, of course, but I just appreciate you, because the people ask me about that all the time, and we've done several podcasts on it. But okay, so let's say we find you and we book a consult. Okay. Tell me how that works, like how you work, because you do work with Dr. Patel. She was on the show, gosh, what? I can't have to go back and look. She was on episode number 183 last season, and she's fabulous. So you work with her, but then you work virtually as well. So tell us what a consult looks like with you.
Yeah, so I work with Dr. Patel, but I also work, I also have my own private practice too. So Dr. Patel and I collaborate, and then I do work virtually as well. So usually a first initial consultation is for me to gather as much information about a client as possible. So it's anywhere between 60 to 90 minutes. I want to know the first thing they do when they wake up. Do they pee? Do they have bowel movement? Do they go straight to the coffee? Do they drink water? What kind of water are they drinking? Is it cold? Is it hot? Is it room temperature? It does matter. Then I want to know what their first things they're doing, like what their breakfast routine is. Are they skipping breakfast? What are they eating? What are they snacking on? Their medical history. I want to know their likes, dislikes, goals, dreams. Do they sleep? What time do they wake up? How much sleep are they getting? And so I want to know everything. And then from there, I basically go in and I create a customized, kind of like a blueprint, fit for their lifestyle and their goals, what I actually think they're going to be able to achieve. So if someone's used to eating like Chick-fil-A for breakfast, I'm not going to be like, oh, guess what? We're going to switch this up and now you're going to be having a green smoothie, because they wouldn't do it. So it has to be really relatable to them and it has to be sustainable. And we're going to go in, we're going to make these, I usually say, like, let's first master the morning ritual. And so we're going to create steps so that they keep mastering these new things. And then all of a sudden things become second nature. So we're putting together a whole plan. It includes, recipes if they want recipes. If they go out to dinner all the time and they're like, Lauren, I'm never going to cook. Okay, I will look at every single restaurant you go to and I will pick the best things for you. I will take you grocery shopping if you're local to me. I will, or we could do it virtually. We're going to go over like what the ingredients are in your pantry. We're going to replace them. And so it's designed to it's designed to give every client the tools they need to really feel, I guess, empowered and inspired and make it these little micro changes so they're not just feeling overwhelmed. And I don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed. I want them to feel excited and I want it to be fun and fun. I think I'm a really quirky nutritionist. I mean, of course I have a digestive tract on my desk.
Right.
So, I just try to make it fun for people.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the thing. You certainly don't want to set people up for failure, right? I mean, that's not how you work, and that's not way any of us should work, for sure.
And we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. So let's focus on strengthening the strengths and minimizing the weaknesses so that we can, excel.
Yes.
And people do great. It's really fun to see people just light up.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, like the light bulbs goes off.
And they can do it.
You can do it.
Okay, so on your website, you have what's on this desk right now. And I'm so intrigued by this. And you said you started this during the pandemic.
I did.
But these are ear seeds.
They are.
I want some.
Absolutely.
Tell me why. What's going on with the ear seeds?
So one of my clients actually wanted to go visit this little old lady, and she'd probably be offended if I said that, but she was very sweet. But she was very sweet, and she was doing these things called ear seeds. And honestly, I thought it was a little bit hokey, but I do believe in foot reflexology. So ear seeds it's actually a European system, and it's the idea that there's over 200 nerve endings on the ear that are basically speak and send signals to your brain. And it's also a map of the ear too. So the European doctor who quote unquote discovered the ear seed or ear seeding map will say that the earlobe your ear's an upside down fetus. So the earlobe corresponds to a baby's head. And then you go all the way up your spine, which is your outer ear here, and up here where the feet, the anus, all that stuff. So you can look at the ear and you can see inflammation. I can see when people have hearing loss. And sometimes heart conditions and stuff like that. But the whole principle is that you put a little bead on your ear and it acts as an acupressure point, and it's basically sending a signal to your brain to bring the body back into homeostasis. So they can kind of be sometimes tender, and that's usually a sign that your body is more out of balance. And then you wear them for about 4 to 5 days, and depending on how chronic the issue is, you give your ear a rest for 2 days, and then you add them back on another few days. But it's really cool. I was having a lot of anxiety during pandemic. Life was just crazy and weird and different. And like I said, I thought it was hokey at first, but I put them on. I just felt this sense of calm, and I was like, oh, must be placebo. But sure enough, 5-6 days later, they were taken off. And, a couple days in, I felt that anxiety creep back up again. So put them back on, and placebo effect again. And then finally I realized, okay, this is not a placebo effect. This is actually doing something. So I'm terrified of flying. And I have to say, I will put them on my ears when I fly, or I'll even just press the points that I know are anxiety. And I just feel this sense of calm. So it's great for kids. It's great for all ages. And yeah, they're just little beads. They're little 24 karat gold beads that you put on your ear.
Oh my gosh. They're not pierced.
No.
They just stick on there.
They just stick on yours.
Okay, I want because I want 10.
Okay.
But for inflammation, because I'm still getting rid of inflammation. And I can try it for 4 days.
Yep.
Can I put them on myself?
It's really annoying to do, which is why I'm not wearing them right now. But yes, you can technically put them on yourself. I studied, I think this for, I don't know how, it was like 100 hours. So I had to study it. There's so many points, man. It's just a lot of points. But you can absolutely put them on yourself. I find it very frustrating because if you think about your ear and trying to actually hit the point and get it on there is not as easy as it might look or sound.
And they're pretty cute too,
They are cute. I like them. I thought they were cute. I was like, oh, I'm just going to wear these because they're cute.
So if someone's interested in ear seeds, they reach out to you, right?
Totally. You can just come into my office where...
You are so darn fabulous. I don't even know what to say. I'm so excited that you came on the show today because you are helping so many. You're going to help me. I think I'm going to talk to you about my daughter and I possibly.
I love it.
Checking you out and coming over to see you in Dallas. You're not far. But again, people that are global, how do they find you?
Well, my website is Lauren Gillan, GILLAN.com. Or you can find me on Instagram. I'm always talking about something, but Lauren T. Gillan, I'm on Instagram.
I love your Instagram. It's so fun, and that makes the world go around, it seems like these days, and you're doing an amazing job. Well, thank you for being here today and bringing your intestines and the ear seeds and all kind of fun stuff. So great. Well, thank you so much. And everyone, thank you so much for joining us today on My So-Called Fabulous. And you heard it here today. More nutrition information. If you need to speak to Lauren, just let us know. We can contact you. All of her information is in the show notes. And you know what I say each week, keep being fabulous.